What's up, A to Z Sports Live on a Monday? Is it a victory Monday? Because the tank worked and the Titans have the number one overall draft pick, but they lose the season finale to the Texans on Sunday to fall to a 3-14 record and earning the number one overall draft pick. But it's also Black Monday across the NFL. There have been coach fired this morning. There's coaches that are not being fired this morning. There's a GM that saved his job, and a coach lost his job about an hour after his last game yesterday on Sunday. We're here to talk through it all because a lot of things to get to. It's going to be a long but very entertaining and packed full next 4 months of 2025 as the Titans are on the clock with the first overall pick in the 2025 NFL draft. But who's the pick? Who's going to be making the picks? What position to make the pick? Is it Shedeur Sanders? Is it Cam Ward? Is it Trade? Is it Travis Hunter? There's a million different conversations we're going to have, which is going to be a really fun thing. But today, we'll talk about the disaster season, what went wrong, the biggest reason why it went wrong, and will there be heads that roll? So, Zach, welcome in. Hope you had a good Week 18 NFL experience. It's a Monday, which means it's the age game day. It's my turn to give you a person to guess their age. So I will be prepared by the time we get to that point on the show. We have a big time show today. So Zach, welcome in. Let's get this thing off and rolling.
Yeah, the fun of the NFL last week of the season. You never really know what is going to happen, who is going to get the number one seed and who is going to get the number one pick. I mean, that was kind of the storyline of yesterday from start to finish. So a lot to unpack. We are broadcasting live on 3 different platforms, including Facebook, YouTube, and Twitch. We will tweet out segment by segment, link by link, our YouTube link. That is on our Twitter handle at A to Z Sports. So if you're a Titans fan, follow us at A to Z Sports. That's at ATOZ Sports. If you're an NFL fan, follow us at A to Z Sports NFL on Twitter/X. You can get all of your content there. So a lot to get to over the next several months leading up to the NFL draft in Green Bay. The Titans hold that number one pick. We're going to give you content all the way up until then. So make sure you lock in there. If you're on YouTube, subscribe, like, and ring the bell, as we say. Subscribe to our channel by searching A to Z Sports Nashville. And then like the show. Like the show. It helps distribute the show, and it helps the algorithm. And if you have already done those two things, ring the bell. Make sure you get live alerts when we go live. Facebook, what's going on? Facebookers, bottom left corner of your screen. Share now to public. Sharing is caring and caring is sharing, as we say on this show. So share the show around. And let's get this party started on Monday. There's a lot to get to, a lot to unpack, whether it's GM, head coach, quarterback, defense, defensive player, press conference, owner, number one pick. I mean, damn, there's so much stuff, and we want to hear everybody's input on that. So let's get this thing rolling.
Yep, let's do it officially. Welcome into A to Z Sports, powered as always by the BetMGM app. I'm Austin Stanley. He is Zach Bingham. We are Nashville's on-demand sports network, going live weekday mornings at 8 Central Time on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitch. Links to the show segment by segment on our Twitter X timeline. Also hit us up on Instagram, TikTok, and Threads for more great Titans content. I think our sponsors, they make it happen for us. You're right.
This is why I'm here. 5-star review. You cannot forget about the 5-star review in the intro. My question was, did you do that 4 times last week?
Not 4 times because we didn't have a show on New Year's Day. I did 3 times last week.
There you go.
But hey, the weekend, a lot of stuff happened over the weekend. And so, yes.
The support system. That's why I'm here. I woke up. I got a couple of notes. One of my notes is 5-star review. And I know I've completely ruined the intro, but hey, 5-star review.
Yes.
I got a shout out to the chat because we went, woo, because Louie gave us a 1-star. We got a lot of 5 stars. So every single day, and you can boo me all you want, Louie. Welcome to the show, big dog. I'm here every Monday. Come on. Boo that, man. We're not going to get into that. But 5-star reviews, shout out to the chat.
Yep.
Shout out to the real OGs that went to our Google and Google reviewed. So every single intro, Louie, because of you, we're changing it 5-star review.
Yeah, I think Lou Man might have just been a reverse troll. He knew what he was doing the whole time. Anyway, Yes. Shout out to Lou Man and leave us the 5-star Google review right there. But we do have to thank our sponsors. I got something else on my mind too. It's thanking our sponsors, and we got something else coming up about that. Wilson County Hyundai. Make them a part of your new car buying process in Lebanon or online, wilsoncountyhyundai.com. The Bone and Joint Institute. Whenever you need them for an injury, boneandjointtn.org. Farm Bureau Health Plans. Get better with Farm Bureau Health Plans and visit their link, fbhp.com/ATOZ. T-Dot, keeping litter off our streets, and visit their campaign, nobodytrashtennessee.com. And brand new, because it's the first Monday of 2025, Bart Durham Injury Law. You deserve to be paid. Your big truck wreck people that can battle for you and fight for justice. You can reach the Bart Durham Injury Law at bartdurham.com for current news, blogs, and for contact for a live chat. So shout out to bartdurham.com. Brand new on the show this week. So, Zach, the Titans lose. They understood the assignment. Will Levis was bad enough. Mason Rudolph was bad enough to lose the game. Tony Pollard couldn't get his incentive. They could not get really anything done offensively until they just throw up a Tay Martin touchdown that was intended for a different guy. The perfect way for Will Levis to go out. Let's hear from Brian Callahan, the head coach, right after the game of losing to the Texans 23-14 to fall to 3-14 on the season. They get the number 1 overall draft pick, and here was Brian Callahan.
All right, obviously not the way we wanted to finish the season off. Appreciate the effort, the preparation, the process that our team put in this entire season. That's the kind of thing that we can build off of, which we're going to have to. And I appreciate their effort, appreciate their work, and obviously nothing much to report injury-wise. And other than that, I'll let you guys go ahead.
Did you, I guess, hear the news yet on the other front about the Buffalo game? Is that providing small silver lining?
Yeah, I did. I'm obviously aware. You know, I saw it right before I came in here. Those aren't things that are exciting, truthfully, from my perspective. Not where I want it to be this year, not where our team wanted to be. You know, those are the things that you get when you're not playing well enough, and that's where we are. And yeah, not something I'm going to take a whole lot of solace in, but we'll move to that phase starting tomorrow.
Oh, today is tomorrow for Brian Callahan, and today they had the number 1 overall draft pick. And Zach, I think it is something the franchise should take solace in. When you're sitting there at 3-13, there is no difference in how you feel about the season at 3-13 versus 4-13 or 4-14 or whatever the hell it is. So they lose the game. They understood the assignment. You get the number 1 overall draft pick because the Patriots beat the Bills behind VFL Joe Milton, and it all kind of worked. The last few weeks, the Giants, the Raiders, and the Patriots all win a football game. The Titans finish the tank to finish with 3 wins and have that top pick in the draft, as you mentioned off the top. So, your thoughts?
A lot of levels to this. And, you know, I was watching all the games yesterday like normal, but for the Patriots, the Bills were okay with the Patriots beating them. Because of the situation, you could tell at the end of the game, running the football, doing checkdowns, not driving the ball down the field, running the clock out. You could tell that the Bills, there was some strategy that they didn't want New England to get the opportunity to draft Travis Hunter at the number 1 overall pick because they already had a quarterback. You could feel that. On the other side, I could kind of feel that the Titans, I don't want to say that they weren't trying to win the game, but they weren't really trying to win the game. That compartmentalized with how bad they are as a football team. I don't know if they could have won the game, especially setting the tone early. I thought they could have challenged that first fumble. They didn't do that, right? That was telling to me. Mm-hmm. 4th down, they kick a field goal down 16 points or whatever, right? That was a little telling to me. So there were some nuances within that game that showed, but I do think that the Titans didn't have the players to beat the Texans yesterday. So the outcome happened. I thought the Patriots had the players to beat the Bills backups, and you saw that happen. I also think this. There are a lot of nuance and level to who wants what. You saw Gerard Mayo's ass get canned right afterwards, right?
Right.
What did
Yeah.
he want? He wanted his team to play hard and win, regardless of the outcome, regardless of the situation. Maybe that helps his chances. Maybe it hurts his chances at staying the head coach.
Yeah.
I think fans want something different than the players. The players want probably something different than the front office. The coaches and general managers sometimes want something different than the fans versus the ownership, right?
Yep.
So you have all of this back and forth, and we're watching all of this play out because it is drama. The number one pick is important. It's cerebral. This is the off season. Who gets what? And the number one pick doesn't always turn out to be the best player the next year. I think we saw this. Caleb Williams was number one guaranteed. The Bears traded away their quarterback to draft him. Jaden Daniels is getting ready for a playoff game as selected number 2 overall on Sunday night, and the Bears are a 5-win team that beat the Green Bay Packers for the first time in 10 years or whatever in a meaningless game. And so, like, all of these things, I think, come into it, but the trajectory of the Tennessee Titans has to change after this year. It has to. They got a new stadium on the horizon. What they've been doing hasn't been working. They've already had change with Vrabel and Robinson and the turnover. Like, what gives? So a lot to unpack, as I've said.
Yeah.
But it's good as a Titans fan to see the number one pick. You have some power with the number one pick. You got options. And in today's world, options are power.
Yes, you do. And I will tell you what my one word was in the post-game show, because we asked not about one word for that game yesterday because tank was the only one word we were going to get, but one word about the overall initial reaction to the first overall draft pick. So, Zach, I'm going to get your one word as well here in a second, but I do want to officially intro our brand new partners, and that is Bart Durham Injury Law. They've been serving Nashville and the state of Tennessee since 1975. You see our guy Blair Durham right there on the graphic as well. He is a Marine veteran and longtime a native Nashvilleian. Your big truck wreck, fight for justice, and the Bart Durham Injury Law group will go for you. BartDurham.com. If you get in a wreck with a semi, with a big truck, that's where you should go to. A crash can change your life forever, and Bart Durham is there to help, and only just a phone call away, and they're available 24/7 to get any and all legal questions answered. The phone number, 615-242-9000. Easy number, 615-242-9000. You deserve to be paid, and an attorney is available to meet with you as well. So visit BartDurham.com. That is BartDurham.com. Our new partner here, Bart Durham Injury Law.
A to Z Sports, we're powered by BetMGM, the sportsbook born in Vegas, in Tennessee. Use the bonus code ATOZ Sports, all one word, no spaces, ATOZSPORTS. For new users to sign up, get into the action. You got playoff football on the horizon. The NBA is always in swing, and college football playoff at the end of the week. This weekend's going to be great. I mean, starting from Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday, I'll take that every day of the week. And that's a lot of football. I like that. A lot of people can like that. You can win throughout the course of that. Download the BetMGM app today. All
right, so one word, Zach, to describe your initial reaction to the number one overall draft pick, the Titan situation. Do you want me to give you mine, or do you want to go first?
I want to go yours because I'm curious.
My one word was predicament, because as I was sitting there watching the Titans lose and then watching the Patriots win and the Titans get the number one overall draft pick, I'm like, maybe this isn't as simple as I initially thought it might be. Because I was under the impression the Titans are going to pick second, Travis Hunter number 1, or somebody trade up and get Shadur Sanders and what the Titans are going to do. But now that they have all the power, it's who's going to be making the decisions. It is what's the decision to be made. Are they going to just simply take their favorite quarterback, number 1 overall? Is trading back an actual option? Do they fall in love? Do they not fall in love? What is the power that they choose to wield here in this number 1 overall position? Because when they had this 9 drafts ago, they had their second-year quarterback, Marcus Mariota, that they liked enough, right? And so they moved back because they didn't want to take Jalen Ramsey number 1 overall. So there's so many layers to this. So my one word was predicament, because there are so many different direction and spiderweb things spokes you can go off into. And so I am jacked up and ready for the next 4 months of discourse on what the correct and right move is. So that's my one word, was predicament out of the gates.
Well, it's kind of funny because my one word is very similar to yours as how I thought about it, because my one word is 3.
Okay.
3 wins all season.
Mm-hmm.
3 teams really that you're competing against, because you've got the Browns and you've got the Giants. You got 3 players in this draft. You got Travis Hunter, you've got Shedeur Sanders, and you got Cam Ward. Those are the only 3 options that the Titans are going to look at, in my opinion.
I disagree.
For those. I don't think you have to draft a quarterback or the best player. That I think
there's another guy in there.
At the number 1 overall pick?
At the number 1 overall pick, yes, I do.
I don't think that's going to happen.
There is one other position that you draft
at number 1 overall pick with a quarterback problem.
I do think there's one other player. If you think Travis Hunter is an option for this team at number 1, then Abdul Carter out of Penn State is an option.
I think Travis Hunter is the only other non-quarterback option because he is the best player in this draft. I think
Abdul Carter, if you believe Travis Hunter is an option for the Titans at number 1, then Abdul Carter absolutely is too.
I don't believe so.
Okay.
That's a disagreement. That's okay. That's different.
And guess what? We get to have it for the next 4 months.
But there's no way in hell Abdul Carter is going to be drafted number 1 overall.
I think
I will, and I'd bet the bank now.
Oh, I don't think it's going to happen, but I do think.
So then he can't be in it. If you don't think it's going to happen, he can't be in it.
He absolutely can't be in it.
So you think it could happen?
I think if they draft Travis Hunter, if they draft a non-quarterback at number 1.
I want to unpack this. You don't think it's going to happen, but you do.
I think it's very unlikely. It's long shot odds, but I think Abdul Carter is an edge rusher. The Titans have not drafted an edge rusher in the first round since 2010. And before that was 1999.
They're going to start with the number 1 overall pick?
Abdul Carter is I think if you're talking about the best football players in this draft, number 1 is Travis Hunter, number 2 is Abdul Carter. As number 2 as overall football players in the draft. You're just ranking them without position attached to them.
But it's not about that. It's situationally. This team has a quarterback problem. You have 2 quarterbacks and a number 1 Heisman Trophy winner, dual threat, maybe generational talent. Abdul Carter is not a generational talent. He has not been labeled that. Travis Hunter
labeled Micah Parsons Jr.
He has not been labeled in the same breath that Travis Hunter has. And you and I both know that. The chat knows that. Yeah, so you can say 4. I'm saying 3. I don't think there's not a 4th option.
I don't even think Cam Ward is an option.
You don't think Cam Ward is an option at all?
If Brian Callahan's the head coach,
is Cam Ward more of an option than Abdul Carter?
I would rather, if you don't get Buffaloes
or the Titans.
If with Brian Callahan the head coach, Cam Ward's not on the board.
I disagree with that.
Okay.
So look, that's good. We're set up for a good offense.
It's going to be great.
It's going to be 6 days. We're the first January. This is the first show of 2025.
20 minutes.
I don't agree with the majority of what you've said today.
That's fine.
Look,
great.
Hey, that's the beauty is in it. But yeah, I'm with DeAndre Ray that Austin be tripping this morning. It doesn't make any sense. I don't. I think it's between 3 players. I think it's Travis Hunter. I think it's Shedeur Sanders, or I think it's Cam Ward. They got a quarterback problem.
Buffaloes or bust is what I'm going to say. Buffaloes or bust. I would, if you don't.
Yeah, no, that's your opinion. That's who you want. But I'm talking about the need and where you're picking for this team. It's not about your preference, right? I know you're not a Cam Ward guy. You've stated that on numerous shows. You don't feel like he is the guy, you said that, right? That's okay. Similar to what you said about Will Levis. I think there's some, there's a victory lap there of Will Levis. You doubted him. The results are in, and he was effing awful. But I still think that you got three choices. So that was, for me, the one word, because three, I do think that the Giants can come into play, because the curveball in all of this is Deion Sanders. And I think Deion Sanders coming in and having a preferred team and forcing the Titans. And there is some politics within this, right? Ask the San Diego Chargers about politics. It happens. And there's not a damn thing you can do about it when it happens to you. And so if, just for the scenario, Deion doesn't want his son to go to Tennessee, and he wants him to be the number one overall pick, which has been stated. He wants his son to be the number one overall pick. Shedeur Sanders has said he wants to be the number one overall pick. You still have the opportunity to trade down 2 spots and get maybe Cam Ward as a quarterback. You're probably not going to get Travis Hunter. Maybe you get Abdul Carter at 3, but you're sure as hell not getting him at 1.
Yeah. There you go. So there's the draft order. You bring up the Giants at 3 because the Browns are a disaster and they're trying to figure out the Deshaun Watson situation overall.
And that's what I'm saying. Abdul Carter is out of the question at 1. If things change and you move back, here's the other caveat to this. Are they going to go find a free agent quarterback and already tell the world that they're not drafting one at number 1?
Well, the Falcons did that last year, and what'd they do? They drafted at 8 a quarterback, but nobody expected that, and we all made fun of the Falcons for weeks after that.
Well, and I think that's the biggest difference, and this is why I have stood by and still stand by. The Titans must draft a quarterback at number 1 overall. I think they have to. I think you draft Shedeur Sanders. The only way you don't draft Shedeur Sanders is if Deion plays his game. And then you're going to have to, but you're going to be able, hopefully, to find that out real early. Deion's going to play his card pretty early, and then the Titans are going to understand what they are able to do.
Deion Sanders has already played his card. He's already played a card, because the card that he's already played is Shedeur Sanders is not going to the Senior Bowl. He is going to the East-West Shrine Bowl in Dallas. That is not the Premier Bowl. It's the same week. It's an overlap week. East-West Shrine and Senior Bowl the same week. And Shedeur's going to the less popular one for the media coverage because he wants to dictate where the media has to plan to go. And that is Deion's first card. So I think that's going to continue to happen for a fact. Okay. We have so many things to get to. This is going to be an incredible offseason. But let's go backwards slightly. What was the biggest reason why the Titans season tanked all the way to this number 1 overall draft pick? Because our one words out of the gates of the show, I said predicament. Zach says 3. He thinks there's 3 options for the number 1 overall pick after a 3-win season. I think there's a million options. And the predicament is, which path do you choose? But this question here, to get us going, what's the biggest reason why the Titans season tanked all the way to this point of having the number 1 overall draft pick? We'll get to your thoughts here in a second, but do want to tell you about T-Dot. NobodyTrashes.Tennessee.com. That's where you should go to find out how you can help our state stay beautiful, because T-Dot is out there spending millions and millions of dollars every year to clean up our state, but yet litter remains on our highways, on our roads. Over 80 million pieces of litter are out there right now, and T-Dot can all use our help to make sure that we can keep Tennessee beautiful. NobodyTrashes.Tennessee.com. If you're a New Year's resolution person, then maybe volunteering more is on your list of things to do in the new year. NobodyTrashes.Tennessee.com is a great way you can do that. Get involved with the community to make an instant impact in your community as well. You can check out the already organized litter cleanups. You can go out there and organize something yourself through NobodyTrashes.Tennessee.com. So check them out online. Once again, NobodyTrashes.Tennessee.com.
A to Z Sports powered by BetMGM. Download the BetMGM app today. Use the bonus code ATOZ Sports. They're the sportsbook born in Vegas. Download the app on your Apple or Android app store today. Use that bonus code for new users. That is BetMGM.
All right. Also, don't forget, leave that Google review, 5-star Google review for us.
There you
for
go.
A to Z
Just
Sports.
for Louis, the Louis special, the
That's
Louis
right.
5-star special. That's what we're called. The Louis 5-star special on Google. You can go leave it because he screwed up the algorithm to start. So we're chopping away from his one bunk ass star to where we're going to be. And a lot of you guys have done that. So go the Louis 5-star special.
Yes. So what's the biggest reason why the Titans season tanked all the way down to the number one draft pick? Zach, I'll send you the chat. What are you seeing from the chat today on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitch?
Let's see here. Rolling back up. We got you know what? Here we can take some glory in no longer having to deal with Levi's. You know?
Yeah.
Hopefully.
Yeah. Hopefully.
Maybe in a backup role, but
I don't think so.
Levi's, Mayo Man. Let's see here. O-line and pass rush from Michael Snyder. Injuries from Ty Kendrick. Levis. The quarterback from Darius. Levis. Will Levis. If he played better, the convo wouldn't be happening. Rand. Okay, so Louis, 5-star Louis is going with Rand. Rooney says offensive line. Will Levis big time. Quarterback play. The quarterback from Jake. Greatness Hybrid says quarterback. John Foster says that it's Brian Callahan. So I assume that John Foster doesn't believe that Brian Callahan should be the coach next season for the Tennessee Titans. Callahan, horrible coach from Richie. Levis crashed the party early. Definitely that happened with the start that they had. Rand from Caps. Levis turnovers. Easy. It's quarterback play from Nicholas. Will Levis is the biggest reason. It was Levis. So Levis is winning this in a runaway. We do have some Callahans. We've got some Levis and Callahans. You got turnovers. And then I would go with Ty Kendricks or lack thereof on the defensive side of the football. Like there's a recipe for losing, we always say. There's a recipe for winning. And they did not even closely put the ingredients together to win, especially early on with turnovers, special team play, quarterback play, all of the above.
Yeah, Titans Kyle says, I hate blaming one guy, but I truly feel like Levis and his dumb turnovers had an effect on the entire team. And that's my answer. It's Will Levis. And I see another comment that Steve says, losing early winnable games. I think Will Levis's September sabotaged the entire season. And it was contagious. And Will Levis lost them a game where they were up 17-0 at halftime. Now, he wasn't the only person because they allowed a block punt return for a touchdown. But Will Levis was bad against the Bears in week 1. He was bad against the Jets in week 2. He wasn't the problem in week 3 against the Packers. And they started out 0-3. That should have been a 2-1 start. You know, it really should have been. And how things would have changed, like it's the whole like butterfly effect thing. If you go back and what if they beat the Bears and they beat the Jets and they start 2-0, they can get walked by the Packers like they did in real life and be 2-1, beat the Dolphins with their third string quarterback. And you're sitting there 3-1 going into the bye week in a winnable game against the Colts. That makes sense. And now where does that go from there? Because the defense, I think, fights harder, stays healthier, and is really gunning after it later in the year when the defense was decimated. I think it changes so many things. Maybe you don't trade D-Hop. Maybe you don't trade Ernest Jones at that spot if you win a couple of those games early. I think Will Levis's 11 turnovers in the first 4 games of the season sabotaged this entire deal. I think it sunk the ship before it really had a chance to get in the ocean. So I think it's all about Will Levis. And after that point, it was just kind of scrambling to experiment with a few things. And then it all just fell apart. I think it's Will Levis's fault.
Yeah, I don't think that you can say anything else. You know, the quarterback, the most important position in team sport, and they gave him the keys. They should have given him the keys. And early on, you know, I think what Will Levis had to do was earn the trust of everyone. including his teammates, including his coach, including the fans. And he did the opposite of that, because if you know football or if you don't know football, you can watch and still see that was a boneheaded play. Like, and that on top of that, now he made multiple boneheaded plays. And I think John right here says the energy of the team was gone.
Yeah.
I think that is the love of the show right there, because once the energy is gone and you don't have the leadership, and I'm about to give you an example because I think you had two similar circumstances to start the year, two very, very different outcomes. The Tennessee Titans, with an inexperienced quarterback and an inexperienced head coach, completely crumbled. They gave up. They had no chance to win. They traded, as you said. I thought that was a good, they traded away. They showed their cards that they were going to give up. I'm not saying that they shouldn't have. At that point in time, the writing was on the wall.
Mm-hmm.
Adversely, the Cincinnati Bengals, with better players, a better quarterback, a more experienced head coach, rallied their troops, fell short, but won game after game after game after game. Close, blowout, it didn't matter. The Cincinnati Bengals had a similar start to the season, but they righted the ship because of experience and things that they could fall back on. A number one overall pick quarterback that has had some experience, right? These are different teams, so don't get me wrong. But I think the energy, as John said, of the team was gone. And Austin, I think here's the biggest factor. I think Brian Callahan lost faith in Will Levis very early. And once
100%.
that happened, I don't know if he was skeptical heading into the season. I don't think he would tell anybody that. Maybe his wife or maybe somebody close to him, he probably said what he truly felt about Will Levis. And maybe he believed in him. I don't know. But it really quickly changed from, all right, this guy can't help us win, and I think that was the turning point of the season. And then once that happened, going back to the question is, why are they in the position they're in? It's Will Levis and the relationship and the trust or lack thereof with his head coach.
Yep, 100% agree. By the way, the Bengals, who you brought up there, just fired the defensive coordinator, Lou Anarumo. So
justified.
Yeah, just like as you were going into that. So Black Monday is out there and rolling. Doug Peterson fired this morning by the Jags. Trent Baalke remains the Jags GM. Just saw the Bengals fire the defensive coordinator. The Giants are keeping both GM and head coach. The Titans do have a Brian Callahan press conference scheduled for 1:30 p.m. Central Time today. So Brian Callahan expected to stay as of right now. We'll talk more here in a little bit, but I think there was a comment that it's gone out of my feed right now, but a comment that came on on the show of the energy sucked out of the franchise, and somebody added to that and saying the memes, the Will Levis memes immediately turn that locker room into a joke from the outside. And it's we know this. Jeffrey Simmons blew up on Buck in training camp, right? Why did Jeffrey Simmons blow up on Buck? Because somebody in Jeffrey Simmons' family texted him Buck's tweet. He sees it. He gets hot. He does something about it. Do you think people close to these players weren't sending them the text of Will Levis Spider-Man or Will Levis shoulder injury or the meme of him getting just smothered by the Packers guy or the surrender Cobra in Chicago? All of those memes found their way into the locker room. And so you're sitting there going man, this guy, 11 turnovers in 4 games. And now he's just got the entire NFL laughing at this organization. It just sucks all the energy out of it. And it just makes everything feel like extra hard work. And I hate that for Will Levis because I don't think he's a bad person. I just don't think he's a good quarterback. I don't think he's a good quarterback. And so they need to move on.
You guys have known over the course of the season how I feel about Will Levis.
You guys should know how I feel about Will Levis for 3
showing
years.
up and him getting benched, right? There was so much off the field play, whether it's his cut size or all the other stuff. it wasn't about football. It wasn't about on-field throwing touchdowns. It was about all the other BS. And that is a distraction. It doesn't help things. Joe Cool can walk in with a mink coat, but Joe Burrow Cool, he can win games. And that's the difference. And you know what? You got to earn that. Joe Burrow did that by leading his team to the Super Bowl. And they haven't had a ton of success, especially what the Bengals' expectations have been over the last couple of years. But at least you know that he can. We never knew or experienced or maybe even thought for some people that Will Levis could. He had never done it before in his life. Maybe pup football back in the day because he was bigger than everyone because he's overloading creatine. I don't know. But it doesn't work like that in the pros. And just like the laughing stock today is Fox Sports 1, right? Yeah. It's a laughing stock. The memes on Twitter are hilarious going back because that's what the internet's going to do if you give it an opportunity. And with the Mayo BS and the on-field play and the Spider-Man, Will Levis gave the internet an opportunity to make fun of him, and they took that opportunity. Yep. And you know, the only way to combat that, to shut him up, is to win games. And he did the opposite.
Thank you, Greg. Been saying it for years. And that.
Well, I just wanted him to, what I wanted Will Levis to do is come in, shut his mouth, and concentrate on football. Don't do commercials. Don't do brand deals. Go in there and work. Put your head down. Yes, sir. Don't get distracted. And he didn't do that.
I think in the facility, Zach, I think he did the right things.
No, but what are we talking about? We're not talking about that. That's the issue.
No. When you say shut up, put your head down and do your work, like I think he did that. I think in the building he did that.
No. He didn't because he was doing the splits on my television screen every weekend.
All right. I think like when you're talking about the yes sir stuff and like that is what I'm saying. Is that I think the way he handled his job inside the building, I think
your job has a lot of different.
No, I'm aware. I'm just telling
that's one facet. Okay. That's not enough. It's overall. Go in there and work. Jaden Daniels is the hottest thing since sliced bread. You don't see him doing all of that stuff.
Yet. I mean,
do you?
I don't know. Not yet. I mean, the guy won the Heisman Trophy.
No,
he's gonna
the answer is no.
Yeah. Okay. I'm just saying I do think he handled his I think he took his job serious.
Demise.
But Zach, my point, I think the point I'm trying to make is I do think Will Levis took his job seriously. I do think that. I think sometimes that's his problem is that he took things too seriously.
But Austin, in our society in 2024, perception is reality in some ways.
I'm not saying
He did not read the room.
You're not wrong there.
He's out of the room. But that's my point. I think that this is a bigger deal than you think of. And that I think that's been stated.
Believe me, I don't. I'm just trying to even it out a little bit. I'm trying to keep it because I'm trying to give Will Levis a little bit of benefit for how he approached the football side. It went horribly, but I do think he took it seriously. I do think he studied. I do think he game planned the right way. I think he went into every game trying to play the best he could. He's just not good enough.
But Austin, that
having
may be
the Mayo
case.
Commercial doesn't affect that part of it.
No, it does because the perception. I don't disagree. Everything that I've heard from inside is that he did. He showed up and he did what he needed to do. He wanted it. He cared. He wasn't good enough, obviously.
Yes, that's the point.
But your perception matters. And especially if you are the face of a franchise, and that's where he failed.
I agree.
Which made him fail harder today.
Okay, I agree. All right, so let's talk about the next step because there were some rumors swirling last night, and we want to ask this question. Does anybody need to be fired? Because if Will Levis is the biggest reason why the season tanked, does anybody need to be fired after the 3-14 season? We're going to give you guys 4 options. the head coach, the general manager, neither, or both? Who needs to be fired after this Titans 3-14 season? Head coach, GM, neither, or both. But first, Zach, tell us all about Farm Bureau Health Plans.
Yeah, FBHP.com/A to Z is where to go. Farm Bureau Health Plan has been in business over 75 years for Tennesseans. Health, dental, and vision, 200 plus locations across the state of Tennessee. You can find your agent today visiting Farm Bureau Health Plans of Tennessee. That's FBHP, Farm Bureau Health Plans, FBHP.com/ATOZ. You get a health assessment. Once you get a health assessment between 24 and 48 hours, you get a quote. And then once you get a quote, you make the decision. You can compare your health plan currently to maybe a new health plan with Farm Bureau Health Plans and make that decision for you and your family, if it's individually or for wife and kids, husband and kids, does not matter. They'll take care of you. That's Farm Bureau Health Plans of Tennessee.
Also, with our friends at BetMGM, the sportsbook born in Vegas. Zach, I'll tell you what, yesterday I won. I had the most money on one result I've ever had before, and I won. It was the Texans money line because somehow it continued to be plus money all the way throughout the week. So I quadrupled down on that thing and was able to win big with BetMGM. I used several Pro Football Boost tokens that I had on the Texans money line as well. And they're going to have lots of different tokens and features for you to jump in on the playoff action as we get rolling deeper into January. If you have not signed up with BetMGM yet, you can do so by using our code ATOZ Sports. You get up to $1,500 back in bonus bets if your first bet misses. So make sure you take advantage of that. The sportsbook born in Vegas, in Tennessee, right here with our bonus code ATOZ Sports, the sportsbook born in Vegas. So Zach, I'm going to set up a YouTube poll here with the 4 options we have. I'll send you to the chat. Who needs to be fired after a 3-14 season? Is it the head coach, the GM, neither, or both? What are you seeing?
Well, I'm going to get this out of the way because early on we got a lot of special teams coach Colt Anderson. So he's not an option. I would agree with that. I think you fire him out of somewhat principle. Whether it will happen, you have to change something. That was easily, whether they improved, got better, got average, doesn't matter. I think that is a move that should be made. Whether it will, we'll find that out. Yeah. Caps coming in with some solutions. Fire Callahan and Rand. Hire Ben Johnson, the Lions assistant GM. Boom.
Bring Detroit down to Nashville.
They did that with New England. It didn't work.
They did that with the Cars back in the 90s, and that kind of worked for a little bit.
Let's see. The GM has to go. John Foster, who has said time and time again he is wanting to fire Brian Callahan. 5-star Louis says yes, all of them. Neither from Steven. Rand, Colt, Amy, and Clownahan. You can't fire Amy. She's the boss.
Yes.
All of the above, neither. So there's back-to-back completely different. Neither. Yes, Callie must go there from Ty Kendrick. Callahan ruined Levis. Neither now.
Levis can we pause on that last Callahan ruined Levis? No, I don't think that's the case at all. I don't think I think Callahan realized that Will Levis can't operate an NFL system. And that was it.
Cole comes, fire Rand's ass. Should have been fired after Willis beat us. Talking about when Green Bay stomped him. That was an interesting day, right? Because he came out of nowhere. I remember making a lot of wagers on Malik Willis getting sacked that day, and somehow, some way, he didn't.
Oh, I did that game. That was a indictment on Denard Wilson and defensive staff. They just thought they could win. They thought they were playing the JV team. They'd go out there and just roll the ball out and win.
Let's see. And he says, no, you can't keep the head coach and get rid of the GM from Gannon. The head coach needs to go. Neither, both ASAP, neither. There's a string of neither. And Scott says, if you were offered big money for a commercial, you were taking it, period, even if it's for tampons. That's not true, Scott. So don't think that that's the case. Dan says, coach, both. Ran first. So look, a lot of different, and then we got some fire Amy's. Amy Adams-Strunk can't be fired. She's making the decision. She will make this decision whether to fire one or both of them or neither of them probably in the next 24 to 48 hours, right? As we say. So, Austin, what do you think should happen?
Well, one, just hit me. It was a bad football season for Mayo.
Thank God. Anti-Mayo guy. I think that gives a golf clap. I know I'm going to get a lot of people in the comments love mayonnaise. I hate it. It's the worst.
I just think Gerard Mayo gets totally screwed in the Patriots. And then like the Mayo Bowl gets completely outdone by the Pop-Tart Bowl. Just football season for Mayo just stocked down.
Yeah. If I was a coach and I won the Mayo Bowl, this is a wild it's not even a hypothetical because I don't think that this would ever happen.
This is
right?
a nightmare that you would have.
I would refuse. I would be the worst head coach to win the Mayo Bowl because I'm anti-mayonnaise. So, like, there's that. But Gerard Mayo, I think he pulled the Lovie Smith, which is great. Yep. But I think Joe Milton did that because Joe Milton, I felt like it's kind of like Kirk Cousins in Washington. It's like, you get your opportunity, you prove yourself. Like, screw everyone. Screw that RG3 was the top 5 pick. Like, it doesn't matter. I got my opportunity. I'm going to play. And Joe Milton, he was impressive.
Yeah.
He was impressive yesterday. He was not the Joe Milton of old, especially Michigan Joe Milton.
He does that every once in a while. It's just the whole consistency thing that he struggles with. So I firmly believe the Titans should not fire anybody. So my vote on the YouTube poll goes to neither. I don't think Brian Callahan deserves to be fired. I don't think Rand Carthon, his resume, deserves to be fired. Because when you're looking at why is this team so bad, and we already talked about it. Both of us agree, and the majority of the chat agrees. Will Levis was the problem. Will Levis was not Brian Callahan's draft pick. He was not his selection as quarterback. I believe Brian Callahan would be better with a different type of quarterback. Rand Carthon, outside of Will Levis, I think has drafted good players and promising players. I think the free agency hauls have been very different. Rand's first off season, you had to clean up the salary cap from J-Rob, and he signed a bunch of one-year contracts because that was the job. That was the assignment 2 off seasons ago. This past off season, you sign a bunch of players because 1, you have to spend the money, and 2, you want to give either Will Levis or the guy after Will Levis the best opportunity to have talent around him. The problem is a lot of that talent got hurt. Like, they did. They all got hurt outside of Calvin Ridley. And Tony Pollard was banged up towards the end. So I would
That's
like to see
football and no one cares.
No, I know, but I'm trying to judge. Everything was about
they didn't
Will
get
Levis
hurt compared to those 2 seasons Vrabel dealt with.
Yeah, I mean,
no,
for sure.
No,
No, you're right. But also, like the reason why the right tackle position sucks so bad is not Rand Carthon's fault. It's the guy before him's mess just festering. It's the mold and asbestos in the walls.
It's a part of the job.
No, I understand. So my point is Rand Carthon should not be fired because the asbestos hasn't been fully cleared up yet. They are working on that project. Like, that is in progress.
If you're still getting sick, it doesn't matter.
Yeah, but it's like, but are you doing the appropriate steps for that you all agree?
Well, they're the sickest they've ever been.
But they went and said, we're going to go in on Will Levis. And if it works, awesome. If it doesn't,
who drafted him?
Rand and Vrabel did. And that's one thing I'm going to say.
Rand, they said that Rand picks the players.
Hold on. We will never know. We will never know the true answer on if Mike Vrabel wanted Levis or if Rand wanted Levis or if Amy wanted Levis at 33 overall. We're never going to know the honest truth. We're never going to know that.
Well, what they told us was Rand picked him.
When he was playing well, yes.
No, they said when he was hired that Rand would pick the players. It was a question posed by reporters, and that was the answer. I'm not saying the interior of that is true. I'm saying, but perception sometimes, that's perception. This is a game, Austin.
I know that.
We know that. You've been playing it for a decade.
But we're never going to know who pulled the ultimate trigger on Will Levis in the draft. We're not going to know that honest answer because it's going to be used to tell whatever story they want us to hear. We know that. We know how that works too. And so I don't think.
So what are you not going to?
I said
make him responsible because you don't truly know.
No, I don't think Rand was a part of the hiring of Brian Callahan. Levis failed this team. Levis failed the organization. He was not the quarterback that could get it done.
I know, but how much is on Rand drafting him?
I don't know that.
He traded the picks to get him.
But I also know
he submitted. He made the phone calls. Like, it's Rand's fault. Will Levis is a Rand. This is my opinion. Will Levis, and you get a couple of strikes. Sometimes you don't, but in my opinion, you should get a couple of strikes. You can't get Kevin Dodd strikes. You can't get Isaiah Wilson strikes. Those will kill you. But a strike on Rand Carthon's grade sheet is Will Levis. He traded the picks to draft him.
I'm aware, but Mike Vrabel was also a part of that too. And my point is, inside they know the answer to that, and they've already fired Mike Vrabel. So
Mike Vrabel was fired, as we know, for other reasons than drafting that.
I understand that. My overall point is, I do not think it would be. I don't think Brian Callahan has done anything to get fired other than the quarterback sucking that he was given.
We agree on that,
right?
You, myself,
I
don't know what Sam. Does Sam agree on that Callahan should stay?
Everybody, Buck thinks they should fire everybody. Easton and Sam don't think Brian Callahan has earned a firing.
And same with us.
And what Sam and Easton, I think all align with this. That if you don't fire Brian Callahan, do not fire Rand Carthon. It would be stupid to just do the GM head coach cycle spinning wheel again. So I say neither. In the YouTube poll, the only two options I consider are either neither or both. Neither or both. And I don't think Brian Callahan deserves to be fired. I don't think Rand Carthon, Rand is more like, you can make the case, but it's either neither or both. And so I say neither.
See, I'm a neither or Rand. That is my opinion.
Firing one and not the other would be.
It happens all the time. It's not that big of a deal. Amy's done this before. She's hired a head coach with a general manager. She's hired a general manager with a head coach. How's that
gone? It hasn't gone very well.
Well, she's not the only one that's done that, right? Like the tradition. She's also done it traditionally. True, right?
When has she done it traditionally?
Well, she's had a general manager and gone and hired a head coach.
Yes, and then the next cycle, the GM gets fired and the head coach stays, and they hire a new GM, and they fire the head coach next, and they fire the GM next. Like it's playing seesaw. That's all she's done. It's played seesaw.
Here is what we truly don't know, and I always go back to no one really knows what's inside the building fully. I mean, we hear things that are inside the building, right? Those are the things that they want to get out, and maybe some that they don't want to get out. But how has Rand and Brian Callahan performed inside the building? That involves with players, that involves within leadership, that involves within the scouting department, within the front office, with ownership. How have those relationships gone? How have the others around those individuals talked to ownership and done like that matters as well. That's like a caveat that nobody can see.
No, but like here's what we do know, because what was reported was in the spring. I don't remember what month it was, but Brian Callahan was hired already, and then they came out and said, "Hey, new titles, new job flow," and Rand Carthon was given a vice president, general manager title. He did not have the vice president title before this. John Robinson got that right before he got fired. Then Chad Brinker was not just given a vice president title, he was given a president of football operations title. So there was a new structure, a president of football operations and a vice president and general manager, then a head coach. They've been doing that for like 9-10 months.
It's corporate America.
No, I know. No, I know, but like they've been doing it for 9 or 10 months. I don't like they have a chance to start with a roster that has opportunity to add to it from salary cap and the number 1 overall pick with the structure they have set up. I think the structure they have with Brinker, Rand, and Callahan, those 3 positions of president of football ops, VP GM, and head coach that's offensive minded, I think it's a good group of 3 positions to have. Do they trust the 3 people in those seats? That's Amy's decision and Burke Nihill, the president of the team's decision. But I think that's a good 3 seats to have there. I don't know if just upsetting those 3 seats 9 months into the job makes sense or not. I would say go with it. You have the number 1 overall pick, play that out, and then now you have a chance to clean house after that. If the number 1 pick fails, if whatever they do with the number 1 pick fails, then everybody's out.
Well, the
rather
number 1
than
pick
playing your musical chairs game.
Yeah, they won't be around to see the number 1 overall pick fail, in my opinion, right? You fire your coach and GM before you fire the number 1 overall pick, or you find out that they're not good.
Yeah, but again, like you're just setting this up. You don't have to play musical chairs. It's either everybody or it's nobody, in my opinion.
Yeah, so you're saying, and I'm not completely opposed to this, is you say neither, and you give one last hurrah to win 7 games with a new quarterback. That's your goal. Your 2025 resolution, goal, whatever you want to call it, is to win 7 games with a number 1 overall pick at quarterback, in my opinion. I think that's, and if Rand and Brian Callahan can be the benefactor of that, I think that's okay. I'm okay with that. But there's some politics within Brinker and Rand and then Callahan. Callahan's the new guy in that sense, right? He's just trying to coach the players. And sometimes if the win-loss record doesn't work out, you don't get opportunity to continue to coach the players. I think Brian Callahan has earned another year to coach the players. I think he should stay.
Yeah.
I think the Levis is on Rand Carthon. That was a bad pick at quarterback that he traded for on Rand Carthon. That's my opinion. I put that strike on the general manager. I'm okay with neither. If I feel that somebody needs to be fired, I go get a new general manager.
Okay. So to the poll, 11% of the votes say head coach.
Which is not bad. That's low.
12 now. It's moving. It's fluid. How about this? 7% say fire the GM. That's the lowest. The GM, 7%. Neither comes in at 59%. And both is at 23%. So neither or both is the 2 popular responses there.
So now let's talk about the timeline. Do you think, I don't think she's going to fire both of them. I don't think it's going to be a complete clean house. I think you already do that. Like
Brian Callahan has a press conference scheduled for 4 hours from now.
Yeah. So they're not firing both, I don't think. Would you agree?
Yeah.
So Brian Callahan's press conference is then, right? What needs to happen now? What needs to happen? What will happen? There's two questions. Let's start with what needs to happen. What does Amy Adams Strunk need to do? Release a statement, hold a press conference, send a memo, send Rand out there, pass a note to Brian, Brinker. What needs to happen?
I mean, I think need is a statement, just like the Colts,
Jim Irsay did,
and also the Giants did it this morning. The Cons and the Jags did it this morning.
The Patriots did it.
Yeah. So it's a statement. Is the least need, right? And Orlando says need a statement by Friday.
And here's the props to Tress. We're committed to winning.
I mean, but I do think she is, though. Like, she's.
I know. But death, taxes, and we're committed to winning by an owner is the funniest thing ever.
Well, because people doubt that. People doubt that owners want to win.
But you saying it doesn't mean that it's true. Jerry Jones is committed to winning, quote unquote.
But if you don't say it, people are going to be like, oh, she didn't say she wants to win. Like, it's something that you just have to say. I think it's ridiculous to look too deep into that.
Here's the most radical thing. You could fire Callahan and hire Dion and draft Shador and just go all in. That I think is the most radical idea that you could possibly have, but you could do it. So what do you think needs to happen as far as Amy and the situation?
I think she needs to put out a statement over the next 48 hours. That's the result, whether it's we're sticking with what we've got or we're making a change at one position or they're not. Whatever her decision is, we got to know it in the next 48 hours.
What do you think will happen?
I don't know, man. Last night it felt like something was going to happen, right? Like last night I was sitting here, I was like glued to my phone, glued to my computer, getting calls made, getting prepared. It felt like something was going to happen. Then I went to sleep. Then I woke up. First thing I did was check. Nothing happened. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know what's going to happen. Last year I thought Mike Vrabel was going to keep his job. So I have learned that my predictions on what this owner is going to do is pretty meaningless.
Well, and I think that she's hard to predict. As we talked about before, she's done it all. She's had a general manager, hired a head coach. She's had a head coach, hired a general manager. She's had an interim head coach. She's fired. She's hired. She's fired the president of the team. She's done it all. That's it. We now have enough sample size of her history to not know what the F is going on.
Yes.
So I think a statement will happen. I think it should happen. I would love a press conference, but we've covered this team too long to know that that's not going to happen. And then I want to say this because Greg said Zach's putting too much effort in being negative, and it irks you, Greg. Honestly, Greg, I have the most positive outcome. If this happens, I will be a happy camper watching the Tennessee Titans. Regardless if Rand stays or goes, I'm not sitting here holding that torch. That is not one for this. I think Brian Callahan should stay. You get another opportunity. And I think that they should invest in wide receiver and offensive line and defense. That's generalized. And draft Shador Sanders. If they draft number 2 and give me some prime time, Greg, I'm going to be the most positive MFer on this, in this channel, on this company, whatever. I think that is a great situation. And I didn't think that that was going to be realized 3 weeks ago. Now I think that that's a true reality. Will it happen? I don't know. We'll find out. But that is the most positive thing that the Titans could get. They're going to open up a brand new state-of-the-art multi-billion-dollar stadium. They're going to get a cerebral quarterback with an offensive-minded head coach, a guy who can run, scramble, and throw. And Shador is smart. I do think he is educated. He has it up top. He hasn't had the offensive line, to be honest, at Colorado. He's been running for his life. He hasn't played outstanding, but he's made some
He has
throws.
played out. Hold on, time out. No, he has played outstanding.
Yeah, no, but I'm saying like there are times that you could criticize him for not. I guess that. But
no, I think his criticisms are his last name, his father, and the system of Colorado.
But I think he has his head on straight.
Yeah, I
think
agree.
He knows what the lights represent.
How about this?
And he likes them. But the Titans need some showtime.
How about knowing how to handle pressure? Shador Sanders knows how to handle pressure. He is the son of Deion bleeping Sanders. How many kids live up to their Hall of Fame father's name and reputation?
Very few.
And Shador has.
Not Bronny. What about
quarterback? No, at quarterback, we're not talking about Dre Kirkpatrick's kid playing corner. We're talking about Deion freaking Sanders' kid playing quarterback, and having all the eyeballs on him, having all the haters on him, and doing nothing to ruin it besides maybe throwing his offensive line under the bus after a game when he got sacked 18 times. Like, that's the worst thing Shador Sanders has done is saying his offensive line play isn't good enough. That's the worst thing he's done.
Because it wasn't.
The worst thing he's done. And people hate him, and he's got so many opportunities to mess it up. He's got all the money he could ever ask for. I think Shador Sanders, that's somebody you should trust because he's been in the spotlight since the umbilical cord was cut.
And this is not the greatest quarterback draft, but this is the draft you're in. You know, you don't get to pick the Peyton Manning drafts. You don't get to pick those. You don't get Joe Burrow. Like, you are where you are. You draft Shador Sanders. It's the most obvious thing, in my opinion, that the Titans, in the history of the Tennessee Titans, this right now, you have a quarterback problem. You have an offensive-minded head coach. You're a small market team, and you have prime time ready for the taking. You take it. And you know what? You live with the result.
Yeah.
You're not going to question Will Levis and, oh, well, he's never been good, or the mayonnaise. None of that stuff. It's Shador Sanders makes the most sense for where you're picking in this year's draft.
I'm with you. Let's see. There was a comment I wanted to read. Basically, somebody saying that Cam Ward has a higher upside than Shador. But
it's not. You have to reinvigorate this fan base. Did you see yesterday? I mean, good Lord Almighty, that nobody was at that game. As an owner, that's got to make you sick. That's your house. You've invited people over to their house. People have actually paid to come in, and they said, we don't want the ticket.
No, here's what happens. You threw a party, people RSVP'd yes, and then just didn't show up.
And it wasn't just because it was raining. Let me tell you.
Yeah. It was because your food sucks. It was because your house stinks and there's leaking bathrooms.
Nobody wants to go. But we're building a new house. Well, then you better get some new furniture. You better get some new, right? You better get a better TV. Because I'm coming over to watch the game, and what you have now blows. And I think yesterday is a product of that. When you open your eyes, when they pan to that screen, Austin, at high noon, oh my God. I was like, what is this? This is shameful. One word to describe that: shameful. Draft Shador Sanders, you'll put butts in seats for at least 2 years.
Well, maybe 3 because the stadium. All right, so
you get an extra year.
Yeah. Okay. Time for some super chats because we got a lot of them. But the Bone and Joint Institute can take care of you. boneandjointtn.org, the region's destination for comprehensive orthopedic and sports medicine care. When you get hurt in life, just like in football, you have to know where to go to, who to trust. I trust Shedeur Sanders because of the spotlight he's been in. I trust the doctors and the support staff at the Bone and Joint Institute because of my own experience dealing with a couple injuries the last few years. In Franklin off I-65 and Highway 96, right next door to Williamson Medical Center. Book an appointment online, boneandjointtn.org.
A to Z Sports are powered by BetMGM, the sports book born in Vegas. Use the bonus code ATOZ Sports for new users when you sign up. That's BetMGM. Download the app in your Apple or Android app store today. I've got it on my phone. You should have it on yours.
All right, super chats here to keep on rolling on this Monday. Kicking to the King says, now the Titans trolls that said weeks ago, we won't be in position to select the quarterback, now saying, no, this is a weak QB class. Do you want a franchise quarterback? I think a few weeks ago did not think the Titans would be in position to draft Shedeur Sanders. I didn't. But then the Raiders won 2 games, the Giants won a game, and the Patriots won a game, and the Jags beat the Titans, and the Titans lost out. There you go. A lot of things happened.
Well,
So many bad football teams won games.
Well, and a lot of that is a product of an extra week and the playoffs being lined up where those teams don't have to play. Like that is a thing.
Year. Yeah. Well, the Colts losing the Giants was just Drew Lock miracle game. And
Flacco came in and didn't play like we thought Flacco played, right? Sure. And he kind of went back to being like the 40-plus guy that he is. Whatever.
It's like, oh, God, this guy's old. Yeah. Who would have thought?
Not making the throws?
Right?
Well, okay.
Oh, it's cold outside and his bones hurt? Oh, yeah, shocker on that one. King DC says, lock in and like the show. Yes, like that show. Hit that like button if you haven't yet. 5-star Google review. That goes a long way for us, too. Bobby Pumpernickel. Draft Shedeur Sanders. Sign T. Higgins. And Alaric Jackson from the Rams. Draft Shiloh too because of DC Denard Wilson. No, you don't want Shiloh Sanders. Maybe as a DB, I think Shiloh Sanders would be a better defensive backs coach than he would be or social media manager than he would be as a defensive back in the NFL.
Well, and when you draft number 1 overall, this should be the last time you draft number 1 overall for a while. That doesn't always happen. Like the Jags have done that, The Lions have been up there.
The Panthers, except they traded it.
Right? So, this happens, but you go get the guy. This is exciting. This is probably, I think, the most exciting offseason in my Titans coverage was Vince Young. I fell in love with the Vince Young thing. And then I actually covered him in practice and I realized, when I actually saw him on the practice field throw, I've told this story before. I'll never forget. And I'm young 20s. I'm maybe 21. And they have this drill where they're at the 5-10 yard line and they put a trash can in the corner of the end zone, and it's him and Kerry Collins. And Kerry Collins drops like 5 in a row in there. Vince didn't hit the trash can once. Didn't even bounce it there. Missed completely. And that's when I thought, this is not good. But leading up to it, watching Texas, watching what the hype was, and that's what I'm talking about from now until the draft. This is Shedeur Sanders. This is great. And Shedeur is smarter, has better mechanics, has a better arm than Vince Young.
Yes. And plays the position way better. But hey, guess what? Vince Young has higher upside. So did Will Levis.
Yeah, and Greg's right. He was just a football player. And Vince Young was a better football player than the football players he was playing against in high school and in college, and then got into the pros, and it's a shoulder-up league.
Yep, no doubt. And just like Will Levis, the shoulder-up league, and he didn't have it. All right, more super chats to roll here. Excuse me. Eric says, for those saying fire both, what quality candidate is coming to a team with this many holes, possibly no quarterback? Kirk is done. Darnold isn't leaving. I think the one thing you could point to with this question, it's a great question. It's very valid. The Washington Commanders. The Washington Commanders did it last year. New GM, new head coach, new quarterback, Boom. And they're in the playoffs. Now, that also included an ownership change. And that's what this team doesn't have. And that there was a completely clean slate, start from scratch, and it's working. Present tense working. Who knows how long it'll last, but the Washington Commanders did it the right way.
Well, and the Washington Commanders story will be written in 3 years because Cliff Kingsbury's going to leave. And what is Jaden Daniels going to be when Dan Quinn's the head coach and there's a carousel at offensive coordinator in this era of football? So, like, this is a great year, and it's been fun. I've watched more Commanders games. Bless it. Like, it's fun to watch. But that story still needs to be told. And the Titans currently have an offensive-minded head coach, something that they haven't had for a while.
Yep, no doubt. Okay, King VC says with the number 1 overall pick, it's either neither or both. Neither or both. And I'll update the poll. 60% neither, 21% both.
Yeah. And I think the gut is that it's probably going to be neither.
We'll see. Last night, I felt like something was going to happen. Connor, I'm leaning neither because GM chose the head coach. Head coach can now choose the quarterback. If they still suck, fire everyone, hire and fire at the same time moving forward and keep the cadence that way, Miss Amy.
I like that comment, Connor. I think that makes a ton of sense. Is if you're going to go neither, you give them a chance in 2025. All you got to do is win 7 games. You got to go from 3 to 7 wins. If you do that, you get another year.
Right. Yep. All right. That's all the super chats we've got. Any other points on this long Monday show, Black Monday? Look, it's still Black Monday. Things are going to happen around the league. There's been firings. There's been statements saying that guys won't be fired. You got anything else?
Draft Shador. That's my battle cry from here until the draft in Green Bay. Draft him.
Okay, and it is also time for the age game. Shout out to our friends at Wilson County Hyundai, wilsoncountyhyundai.com. We had a tweet from somebody yesterday and said, hey, ask Payne Bone if he's looking for a new sales rep. Will Levis is looking for a job soon. wilsoncountyhyundai.com is where to go to save money on that new ride. Zach, it is time to start 2025's age game. 2025's age game. I'm going to just randomly pull something out of somewhat relevant. Yesterday, about an hour after the Patriots beat the Bills to give the Titans the number 1 overall draft pick, the Patriots fired Gerard Mayo after 1 year as the Patriots head coach. And then on social media, trying to gather and wait and look around at all the news that's breaking across the league. And I see this video come up from Fox, and not that video, but Rob Gronkowski.
Hey, are you asking me how old Joy Taylor is?
No,
because
no,
I didn't read the full document.
No. A video from Fox, their NFL desk, between games or whatever, after the Gerard Mayo firing happened. And it's Rob Gronkowski going off on Gerard Mayo getting fired after 1 year. And he's like, why are we judging coaches on their first year? And he turns to Jimmy Johnson and says, you were 1-15 your first year. Zach, how old is Jimmy Johnson?
So we've done this before.
We've done Jimmy Johnson
I've
before?
asked you that. I've asked
Damn
you
it.
that. So you can't do that.
I built that up for so long.
I know, but I've asked you Jimmy Johnson. You got to remember, I've had a full year of asking you guys. So you have to come up with somebody new.
Crap. I don't have a backup plan. How old is Skip Bayless? Go.
Okay. That I don't know.
I don't know either. I'll look it up. Nobody else look it up. No Googling. How old is Skip Bayless?
Skip has got to be 60s or 70s. He's fit, but he looks old.
He's fit, but he looks old.
Well, like he wears gold chains and like he tries to, when you try to act or look young, you actually come across older. Like it goes there. It
Yes,
doesn't work.
fellow kids. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Um Damn, is he in his 70s? He's seen a lot
He's seen a lot.
of football.
Okay.
He doesn't know a lot of football, but he's seen a lot. Let's see. He covered the Dallas Cowboys when in the 90s, so he's probably in his 30s, 90s. That's 20 years. I'm going 67.
67 for Skip Bayless. Okay. Scrolling to the top. Howie Long would have been a good one too. People on Fox desks. Gannon comes in, says 77, wrong. 81, wrong. Louis, 81, wrong. 61, too young. Darius, 74, wrong. We got a couple more 77s. Too old. You said 67, right?
Yeah.
Orlando, 69.
Oh.
Off, 65. IR, 71. Jay, 69. Connor, 72. Hello Ladies, 75. I already said 82 is too old. 61 is too young. Liz, way too young. That'd be a rough 58 right there. Brock Kraft, 73 is the correct answer. Shout out to Brock Kraft, who I believe is a repeat winner.
Let's see here. Oh, Brock Kraft is a 4-time winner, now 5 times. He's gonna end this game.
Oh no, we're getting closer.
Wow. I'm gonna have to just piece this together. 73.
73 years old for Skip. Skip turned 74. They actually just turned 73 in December. So congrats to Brock.
I should have gone 70s. I don't think I would have gotten that. Brock, 5-time champion, trying to get to 6-time. That is our age game leaderboard. You got Curtis down there, Trevor, Billy Jones, Anthony, Orlando, and Titans Kyle are all 4-time winners, but Brock right there is 5 times. So there you go. You know, there was a lot of comments. That was I think some of the early ones were probably guessing Jimmy with the 80s, but swing and a miss there.
Yeah, and Brandon says he said 73, but first, I'm telling you, man, here's the order of my comments. Brock, Wyatt, somebody asking about Mina Kimes, Corey about Randy White, 67, and then Brandon, 73. I mean, it's like,
look, I'm a man of honor. I could have been like, oh, Jimmy, let's see. He's 81.
Is he 81?
Yeah, he's 81.
So I'm just going off of my stream. And so Brandon, I'm sorry, you were really close. You were just literally like 4 comments away. All right, guys, that's it for us on this Monday. Make sure you do 2 things for us. First, hit the like button. Second, 5-star Google review. Do that for us. That goes a long way. Leave us a Google review. We appreciate that a ton. And we will talk to you guys tomorrow on a Tuesday. Buck will be live tonight, A to Z Sports Primetime. There is open locker room and press conferences throughout the middle of the day. Easton and Sam have you covered there. And tons of content. Keep your head on a swivel out there as it is Black Monday in the NFL. We'll talk to you guys later on. Appreciate it as always.
Adios.